Since my last visit, of course, I did not win at the NAMMYs. However, my new album wasn't ready for the NAMMYs, so Volume 1 will be submitted this year as well. And working on a new album. I go into studio Friday actually to start recording on that one, and it's going to be Volume 2. This thing here's got a lot more bells and whistles to it, and it's I'm going to get a little bit more country swing, but I'm still keeping the native vibe alive.
Right. Well, that's important. And just to be nominated, I know that's so cliche, but I firmly believe it. Just to be nominated is a huge deal. As far as I'm concerned, if ever I'm nominated for something, I don't even care if I win.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like, even if I get nominated for, like, best smile, like, yay, I'll take it,
Well, I think you would be nominated for that if that existed. If such an award existed.
Flattery will get you everywhere, Karina. Thank you.
Well, let's hope so. So you've been very busy. What's this going on with Larry Gatlin?
Well, okay, Mr. Gatlin has actually he put out a live. He's actually producing a live theater performance of Quanah Parker, and it's called Quanah Parker, Lord of the Plains. Now, basically, when I met with him last week in regards to this, he was basically telling me, his grandmother is Comanche, which is what Quanah Parker's people are of. He is, if anybody up north is familiar with Quanah Parker, he's actually one of the last great Comanche chiefs here in Texas. He's quite a Texas legend out here, and he's actually included in a lot of textbooks as far as Texas history and everything like that is concerned out here. And he was one of the first Native chiefs to actually start working in concert with, Western people, and and he didn't really give up a lot of his land, and like he was one of these best known chiefs out here. So he's kind of a big deal out here in Texas, and Larry Gatlin wanted to put on a production because he's really proud of his roots, I guess, and everybody should be, as far as I'm concerned. If you're you should be proud of that. Right. And he basically put out an ad looking for any Native American singer-songwriters between the age of 28 and 45, males with strong voices. And basically, he put out an open call to the Native American Music Association, bless their hearts, gave him my information. He reached out to me, asked me if I would love to come in. He's holding auditions in Dallas at this point. So I went in, and I just went in there, and I blew the doors off. I went in there with me and my drum and my ribbon shirt, and I represented Akwesasnoron proudly. I went in there and just, I gave him everything I had, and he actually got up off the stage and came up on stage where I was doing the audition, shook my hand, and he was like, wow, that was amazing. I loved what you did. And I was like, oh my God, Larry Gatlin saying hello. This is amazing. Like, this guy's got, 23 albums and Grammys, and the guy's been singing music for 30 years. I mean, I grew up at my mom's house listening to Larry Gatlin and the Gatlin brothers sing All the Gold in California, and like, I can just hear it in my head the whole time. I'm sitting there in the lobby, nervous, my knees shaking, my palms are sweaty, and I'm like, all the gold in California, and I'm like nervous, but I went in there, and it's funny, the thing is like, when you're a performer, you can be nervous. Everybody gets nervous. If you don't, you're not alive. But once you get on stage, that just disappears. It's gone. Right. And it was gone. And then, like I said, I blew his doors off, and I got a call back. He did kind of say, like, you're a good singer, you got a great voice. I just don't know if you're what we're looking for this production. So, I was like, okay, that's fine. At least now Larry Gatlin knows who I am, and, this is cool. And so then I did get a call back the next day. So I show up at the callback, and there's me and Mr. Josh Halverson sitting there. And I don't know if you're familiar with Mr. Josh Halverson, but he's another famous singer-songwriter here in Dallas area, and he did very well on The Voice last year. He made a good run last year on The Voice. He's a prior NAMMY winner. He won a NAMMY, I think, 3 years ago. Oh, cool. His family's Lower Sioux from Minnesota, I believe. We've been buddies here. We actually were in the same singer-songwriter competition about 2 years ago, and that's where we met first originally. Just like, hey, you're the other Native guy. Hey, you're the other. So it's just like we got to talking, and I kind of kept tabs on him because he's done really well. He's been on The Voice. I mean, he got to hang out with Alicia Keys and Blake Shelton, like, cool. So when I ran into him at the audition, the callback, he smiles, I smile. We give each other, some daps, and we're just hanging out talking, like, how you been? And then Larry Gatlin's just like, I figures you guys know each other. The only two Native guys who really did anything here at this audition. And so here we are, me and Josh, just these young Native songwriters sitting here in front of Larry Gatlin. He sings this song and belts it out. And what he does with this song is he's combining this theatrical opera voice with Native American singing at the same time. Wow. So he's got this country Native thing going, and I'm smiling the whole time. And when he gets done, he looks at me and I says, Mr. Gatlin, the Native Americana is basically what you just did. He gives me this wink and smile and says, "That's why you're here, son." And I was just like, oh, I got goosebumps. It's like,
oh, wow.
Like, and that was just kind of cool. It's like, because the Native country thing really never, hasn't really been done. Like, it has been in the past, but it's really never been done like I'm trying to do it, like real traditional country with traditional Native. So, just that alone being its own separate genre and beast itself, like, I think got me in my foot in this door.
Mm. Yeah, I can relate to that. You go there and you never know what to expect in show business. Everyone can love you and you don't get called back. Someone you don't think cares that much about you, and then they're on the phone the next day asking you to come back. It's kind of, I don't know. It can drain you.
I really didn't know what to expect either going into it, because I've never done theater before. So when they asked me to come in, they were like, include a headshot and include your resume. And my resume, all it has is just music stuff, where I performed in Texas and Arizona and Oklahoma, and where I've been performing and my musical stats, basically. None of it's live theater. I don't think I've ever done any acting, and I think that was one of his big drawbacks. But I think my voice sold him enough where he was just like, listen, I can teach you how to act. He says, have you ever lied to a woman before? And I said, maybe once or twice. He goes, well, then you can act.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, no. So what exactly is this project about? Like, what is the acting about?
Well, basically, he's trying to tell the real true story to a lot of Texans. Most people know him, and he's famous for a lot of his gospel work. So a lot of the church-going crowds that he often frequents and plays for and that he's famous with don't really know the real history of the Native Americans and what really happened to us, the genocide behind it all, and the the treatment that was given to us, the reservations. They don't know about how we were just, assimilated and how this whole country actually came to be. They skip that a lot in American history. So what he's trying to do is, tell the real story. He wants to tell a real tale of how the Native Americans, when the Western expansion came, were really treated like they were murdered for money, like they were, they were scalped for money. And like, he wants to tell this in a theatrical setting. And, he brings a little bit of aspects to it as well, as far as, the God aspect, how most of these people are doing it in the name of God, and how the Native Americans didn't really believe in that. That's not our God. And our God is Mother Earth and Grandmother Moon. Like, so he's trying to tell a story of two different opposing sides, but still tell the truth of what really happened with Western expansion. So
this is a period piece?
Yes, it's a period piece.
So you're going to have to do a lot of research, or do you think you have?
Well, I have already going into the audition. I really have. Like, I fancy myself an apt pupil to any environment I get myself involved in. So I want to do a lot of research in regards to Quanah Parker and Larry Gatlin, in regards to what kind of thing this is actually going to be. So I kind of was well versed as to what I was going to be into anyway. So I didn't. None of it really took me as a surprise as far as when he started explaining this project to me. I'm actually, pretty excited about being into running for this thing. I mean, just the fact that Larry Gatlin knows my name now, and he actually bought my album and listened to it, and like, this is cool.
I mean, who knows? You may not get the part in this, but get offered something even bigger and better than what you imagined.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was telling my producer, Corey Sherrick, down here at Sherrick Sound Studios. Like, I was letting him know that this is an opportunity, and this is him and Keith, the man you just heard on Drive Through the Rain. Keith Owens, he's my guitarist and one of my best friends in the world. He says, listen, we need to jump on this thing now, because even if you don't get this part, we need to have a volume 2 ready to go, to strike while this iron's hot, while people are knowing who you are. Because who knows, I might just be backing up Josh Halverson, but Halverson's already pretty famous, and his album just came out, so he's got the same idea as I do.
I hear that all the time when I watch biographies, read biographies. They audition for, like, I remember one actor, he auditioned for a minor part in a TV show, didn't get it, he was devastated, but he winds up getting cast by that same person in a huge movie and wins an Oscar.
Yeah, and that's a great launching point for someone like me and who is already doing country music, who's already doing music here in Texas and doing music all over the place. It's just like my album's already pretty successful, but if you add a element like Mr. Larry Gatlin, who's a big fan of what I do, all of a sudden, yeah, you're right. I may not get this part, but this was a good opportunity for me professionally in my music career to launch into another avenue. This might be a thing where he gets me opening for Travis Tritt. Who knows? I mean,
right.
This is a thing now. It may be a thing now.
Or you hear those stories, you see these big stars now, and it turns out in the 80s they're on Star Search, and not only did they lose, they lost miserably, and here they're the big stars, and the person that won, you don't even know who they are now.
Yeah. Well, it's all about, like, Carrie Underwood. She didn't win American Idol, but she's the most famous one out of all of them.
She won it.
Like, I thought she placed, like, third that year she played.
No, she won.
Oh, she did? Okay.
You're thinking of Clay Aiken. Clay Aiken was second, and he wound up outselling all the other idols at that time.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, that might be who I was thinking of. I do apologize.
No problem.
My incorrect musical knowledge.
Shame on you.
Blasphemy.
But yeah,
so it was quite interested. I am actually, working hard at this new album is actually going to be pretty exciting. It's going to be pretty cool. I got some new things happening on it. I'm going to re-release Geronimo's Cadillac on this one, and I got a few real good country tunes coming out on it. Like a song called "By George," which I think is going to be a reservation classic, by the way. So yeah, I can't wait to release that for everybody. And the premise of it basically is. By George, the holy trinity of any drinking spree, Thorogood, Jones, and Straight, so please, by George, play me some George tonight. So.
Well, it's funny you talk about how people don't understand the Native history, so they're making this movie. I have an Emmy award-winning writer I'll be interviewing Monday, and he admits to me he doesn't know a lot about the Native culture, but I would like him to give advice on how Native Americans can tell their own story in Hollywood. And see what he recommends. And I discussed this with him already. Like, he admits, he goes, I don't know too much about the Native culture. But I said, I'd like to encourage listeners here on how to tell their own story and not depend on Hollywood to tell it for them. They can tell it themselves. So I'm going to see what advice he can offer.
That is a great way of actually looking at it. I honestly, if you tell it too graphically, it creates a lot of division.
Right.
But at the same time, it's a story that does need to be told. Now, when you walk into that kind of scenario, you can either go, gruesome and graphic like the Wounded Knee, or you can step in it timidly like the smallpox blankets. Either which way, that story does need to be told. Like, they don't teach this to people. So just depending on what kind of aspects he's looking at as far as, what story he actually wants to tell, is going to be entirely up to him, of course, up to his good offices to decide.
Well, and that's my feeling. The reason, in my opinion, why stories aren't told accurately, not necessarily because of any racism. Who can tell your story better than you?
Yes.
So if get more people involved in telling their story, and then they don't have to rely on a producer or a screenwriter who doesn't know it, who isn't up on his history. So I wanted to know what advice.
Is he willing to take like like a symposium and on the reservation, for example?
Well, he lives in Hollywood. Well, he lives in Hollywood. I don't mean to put him on the spot, but I just wanted to know if he could offer some advice here. He teaches at UCLA, screenwriting. He won an Emmy, but I wanted to ask him, how can people here, what steps can they go through that they can go to Hollywood and tell their stories and make their own movies? I just want to see what he has to say about it. I didn't really discuss it as detailed as I'm discussing it with you, so I don't mean to put him on the spot. I'm just curious about his input. Yeah,
that would be very interesting, because I would like to see, some other Akwesasnoron and, just other Ungoloi in general, just, go out there and try to chase these dreams, because the biggest risk is not taking one. Exactly. Get out there and try to make something happen with whatever your idea is. And just try to run with it. And I know there's so many great ideas, and there's so many great minds on the reservation.
Oh, of course.
I grew up there with a lot of them. I grew up there. I know there's some great ideas there, and I would love to see more and more people, to make their branch out, to do the Hollywood, to do TV, to do more music, to expand their horizons and try to see what else is out there.
Well, especially the Mohawks, because when you talk to non-natives about natives, they only know the Cherokee, the Navajo, Comanche, Apache, Sioux.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, no, there are other tribes. Those aren't the only ones.
Well, it was so funny, like, you know, when you start branching out, it's funny, well, especially down here in Texas, like, people never heard what Mohawks were. Like, they just thought it was a flooring company. Like, they just, you know, oh, you mean the people who make the wood floors? Like, no.
Well, in New York City, they just thought it was a hairdo.
Yeah. Thank you, Soho.
I know. I said, no, it's a tribe. It's a tribe of people. It's not just a hairdo. They're like, I was wondering.
And it's funny too when I explain that to a lot of people too. Like they don't realize like that's where the origination of that name even comes from.
Right.
Is our people. Like, yeah, there's a whole history behind that hairdo, man.
Yeah, and I was explaining it to them down there. I said it's not spiky like the punk rockers. I said it's really more like a stripe down the center of their head, but it derived from that. That inspired the spiky hairdo. And they're fascinated.
So I'm looking forward to this, and definitely you guys will be getting a copy of this,
cool.
When it does come out. So I am very excited about it, and if anybody does want to get involved with this thing to help out with mastering or production, just buy a copy of my old album on CD, baby. Just buy a copy of Volume 1. I'm not doing a Kickstarter this time because I didn't reach my goal last time, and I was blessed enough that a lot of my friends and musicians came through to help me out in regards to still getting this thing done, because I got a lot of great friends and people here that will help me. And just go and buy the album and support it and talk to your friends and support the music. And the more and more this music gets out there, the more I'm in a position to, be able to get this next album done. Because like I said, we've already got the music laid out. We just, we need to sit down and put our brains together and come up with the best case scenario.
How long does it typically take to make a single CD?
My last one, believe it or not, didn't take long at all because everybody was so excited to work on it. And it was this new thing. It was this new project. So it just varies. That CD, from the time we actually sat down and the time it actually got sent got done to, ready to go distribute to the world, was probably about 2 months. But that's quick in terms of actually making a good, decent CD. Some take years. Some take a matter of months. But we finished recording in a matter of a week and a half. Like, we were just having so much fun. Like, me and Keith and Adam and Corey and all these guys that I worked with, and my friends, Judd, like, we all just sat down and we had so much fun recording. Just so much fun. And if you listen to the album, like, you could tell we were having all kinds of fun. Mm-hmm. Like, just, especially Keith Owens, the guitarist and the guy who does Drive Through the Rain. He was having so much fun in the studio. It was amazing just to watch him, like he was like a kid in a candy store with his guitar. So that aspect of it just depends on the variety of music you're trying to do and how much fun it is. If it becomes too much work, sometimes you just need to go back to the drawing board. Like, sometimes the sound you're looking for, it just hits you. It just comes to you. So typically, I want to say anywhere between 3 months to a year. But if you're going any longer than that, you're probably trying too hard.
Well, now, is this all your creation? You wrote all the songs?
Yes. Every song on the first album I wrote. Now, Keith sang Drive Through the Rain.
He did?
He sang it because, he came over for dinner one night, and he saw it in my songbook, and it was just this thing in its infancy, and he goes, I love these words. This is my song. And he literally initialed the page of my songbook, and it went from that one night dinner at my house to now it's on my album, and now it's one of my best-selling songs on this CD. Like, it's the third most downloaded song on this album, like, it became a hit, like, So it's just how it happens sometimes. And I wrote all the lyrics to both CDs, basically. I've had a lot of help with some stuff here and there with my producer, Corey Sherrick, and of course Keith, who has an idea like, hey, how about we change this word here? Let's change this word there. But yeah, for the most part, I've written every single song on both of these albums that are coming out. I mean, I'm not one to do many covers unless it's a live thing, because there's a lot of publishing issues you got to go through to actually print a cover on your CD. Like, you got to get licenses and you got to get approval, and then there's royalty share, and then everything else. I would rather just do original songs that I wrote myself, and how I and it's easier to do the music yourself as well. But you have that idea in your head already of how you want this song to sound. So
Now, is it strenuous and tedious to find musicians that can match what you hear in your head?
You know, I thought it was going to be at first because the Native Americana sound itself was different. It was new. It was unlike anything anybody's done here in Texas before. So when I first had the idea of it, I really thought it was going to be difficult. But the more and more I start playing out, the more and more I start just going out with me and my drum and me and my drum and an acoustic guitarist, the more and more people were like, I can add something to that, or I can do something with you there. Like, and then it just became this thing, and you know, next thing you know, there's a mandolin player, and then there's an electric guitar player, and there's harmonica players, and there's people are wanting to get involved with this project now. Like ever since I started this idea, it's been amazing the musicians who have actually wanted to work with this with this project. Like, you know, with me in general, like, and I'm really easy to work with. Like, you know, if someone has an idea, I'm not like, no, you know, like I want to hear out what they got, you know, and if I'm real easy to work with. If I hear something in what I'm doing, and then you got an idea, then great. So it's really been no problem at all. Like for a traditional musician who has an idea in their head of how they want it to sound, there might be an issue. Like someone who's set in their ways, for example. Mm-hmm. I am just a student of music. I just want to learn more about it. So yes, if you have an idea that would make this take it up another level, I'm all ears.
And is there a way people can contact you if they want to help you with your album, help you with your project?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm available on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram, Rob Saw, or Rob Saw Native Americana. cdbaby.com, Rob Saw Native Americana. Just look me up. I'm there on ReverbNation.com as well. My music's available there. You know, I usually release a couple songs out there in Reverb every couple months just to keep, you know, the fans, you know, up to date. I mean, Powell Highway's there, Geronimo's Cadillac's there. There's, you know, a lot of my other songs are there. You know, Reservation Road's out there, of course, and a lot of my videos. I got a YouTube channel as well for a lot of my live videos. And basically, I'm anywhere that there's a .com. Basically, if there's a way in social media you can reach out, just Google Rob Saw. You'll find all my links. I'm on Spotify. I'm on iHeartRadio. I'm on iTunes. I'm on Google Play. Anywhere you can buy digital music, you'll find Rob Saw Native Americana Volume 1.
I'm just curious. Do you buy those songwriter magazines? I buy them too, and I enter the contest, but I never win.
I really never have. I enter a lot of singer-songwriter competitions here in Dallas because the talent level here in Dallas is just phenomenal. Mm-hmm. If you find yourself in a situation where you can just enter those competitions as opposed to just sending something in writing, mm-hmm. that's where you get a lot of experience. Because I mean, honestly, quite honest, I've never won one, but hanging out with so many of these amazing songwriters, like Josh Halverson, like Keith Owens, you know, like Corey Sherrick and Jeff Hobson, and all these guys I've got to meet down here in this process. Iron sharpens iron. So the more you get a chance to hang around with people who are, you know, twice the musician you are, the more apt you are to become better the next time around. And, you know, the more sharper your skill set's going to be when it comes to actually sitting down and writing a good song. It's
funny that you say that because I don't know who said up. There's a quote, hang out only with people who are smarter than you. Hang out only with people who are more talented.
Well, and that's kind of what I try to do, too, is just, you know, hang out with, you know, people who are more successful than me and who are like that as well, because, you know, there's only positive can come from it.
Right.
You know, I mean, you don't want to hang out with anybody who doesn't have the drive you do or doesn't have the talent you do. You want someone with more. You know, more drive and more talent, because, you know, you want to strive to something. You want to strive to have a better goal every time. Once you accomplish one, you want to have another one, you know, and that's the kind of attitude you got to have with it. So you're right. Hanging out with people who are smarter than you definitely benefits you.
Oh, yeah. Like in New York, I saw a lot of showbiz people. They had such an ego. They fancied themselves the most talented. They were the star. And I'm thinking they turned down so many projects because I'm too good for this. I'm too talented for this. And I'm thinking, well, I noticed the less talented people have a series. Supposedly less talented people.
Well, I try not to take that route with anything, just because, you know what I mean? I always got to remember at one point, you know, it can all be taken from you if you just, you know, one wrong move or one wrong anything.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? I'm more than happy to, you know, play a graduation or play a theater full of 300 people. I don't care. Like, just, right. You know, as long as someone wants to hear my music, I'm doing good.
Right. I mean, it's good to know that there's someone out there who has the common sense. Don't let ego get in the way. You know, be willing to humble yourself if you want to succeed in show business. You can't be afraid of looking foolish. If you're afraid of looking foolish, then just don't bother.
And you can't be afraid to fail either. Like, you can't really be afraid to fail. Like, there's so many times I've done shows where, oh my God, I just wanted to give up. There was like 2 people clapping and you know, a room full of people, and I just, you know, I remember one show I did, one guy was just, he like really, you know, didn't like the fact that I was talking about, you know, backhanding people because they called me a redskin and like, you know what I mean? Like, I just was really doubting myself for a while there, but you know, all that did was make me want to be a better songwriter. You know, let the haters fuel you to make better music, and let that negative fuel you to, you know, push harder. You know, and I can't tell you, how many times a situation like that where I just wanted to give up. You know, like, man, I guess singing Indian music in Texas wasn't a great idea after all. You know? But it's actually done okay. It's actually blossomed, and I found my niche. I found what I'm supposed to do with it, and I found a great team of guys who make me sound like a champ every time out. You know, so I'm glad. I never gave up.
I mean, I'm glad you never gave up either. Now, you said in another interview, you've been doing this since you're, what, around 12 or 13, did you say?
Well, according to my mom on the res, I have been. I've been singing and running around the res, and I used to run around the res with my guitar and, you know, sing. But I've been singing in the longhouse as long as I can remember. You know, shout out to all of my Ludi Nusasaga people out there, you know, and all my longhouse folk. And, you know, like, I grew up, you know, just singing in general. As far as the writing, yes, I started writing seriously about 13, 14. Never really did anything with it, just stuff I wrote in notebooks. And as I got older, I refound those notebooks, and I just started molding them into, you know, bigger pieces of pottery, you know, these small lumps of clay, and I started, like, making something out of them and started, you know, actually utilizing these small little things I've written, you know, all this time. So, yeah, I've always had a penchant for doing this. You know what I'm doing now. I think I was supposed to share my voice and my words with the people, and, you know, bring a voice from Akwesasnoron out there for the world to hear, and, you know, represent our nation.
It's weird that you mentioned that, the slightest detail. Like, sometimes I teach writing workshops, and I'll say keep a journal of literally every memory. I don't care how trivial. You don't know what that can spawn into, that one little memory. And I think it's funny that you said you look through your notebooks and stuff, and you built something out of those. I don't know if you quite did the same thing I did, but you used the stuff from your past that you wrote down and turned it into like a song. I don't know if you took this. Yeah,
that's exactly it. I turned them into, you know, something of value. Like, they were just little pieces of you know, lines here and there, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to make something out of this. And sure enough, you know, I'm doing something with it now. And, you know, there's songs throughout, you know, my album, like Powell Highway, for example. When you hear Powell Highway, that was one of the first things I ever wrote. When I first left the reservation when I was a teenager, you know, I was like, the first thing I wrote was, you know, this res life is all I've ever known. This lonesome eagle has really never flown. Them winds are rising, them leaves are falling, and that Powell Highway is a calling. So I wrote that down when I was like 18, 19. You know, and then when I came back and I found it when I started, and now it was the first line of Powell Highway, and, you know, so, and just that one little paragraph launched that entire song.
You know, that's fascinating. Like, I've heard of novelists, for example, Twilight, the Twilight Saga. That started out, this girl had a dream, and about this guy and a girl meeting in the woods, and from that came the Twilight Saga.
Wow, look at that. Wow.
It's fascinating how a little seed can become something huge.
Yeah, and it's always, you're right, you know, like the rose that grew from the concrete. You never know when that one seed can take hold and make something beautiful.
So how far in advance do you plan for your albums? Like, do you already have album number 3 in your head?
I really, honestly, I got the next 3 in my head already. I got volume 1 through 5 already written. It's just a matter of where I place them and what the timing is in my life. Where, for example, 2 of these songs that are going on this album, one being By George, and one being this duet I wrote called Wyoming. These 2 songs weren't even written until 2 weeks ago, you know, but they were such magnetic songs and just stuck with me, and and the minute I gave them to my producer, he was like, "These are going on the next album. You know that these songs are actual. You know, we got to put these out now. You know, and so that for example, like I don't. That's why the next 5 are planned with the material I have. But as far as the placement, I could probably write 2 albums worth of material between now and 5 is done. You know, so I got notebooks full of stuff that these ideas that I have as far as these songs, and I always constantly got ideas. You know, if it was any cheaper, I'd probably have 5 albums out right now. You know.
So do you just have all these random songs and then you decide which album to put each song on, or does each album come with songs specially knit together, so to speak?
Well, Volume 1 was specifically designed. That one was specifically designed the way it was. We actually we sat down together. We went with song 1 through 9, and we sat down and we had a great idea of how we wanted to tell this story. Before all else, for example, you know, Only Gully with Echo, because as smaller people, before all else, you know, everything else. So that's always song number 1, and you will always get that from me on all my albums as an homage to my Akwesasnoron roots and my upbringing. You know, before all else, you know, this is what we do before all else. We say Only Gully with Echo. And, you know, I went into song number 2 as Memory State. So I wanted to start off everybody with this idea of Native Americana and what the sound is. Then, of course, I went Reservation Road and Mascot just to get it out there and let everybody know, you know, hey, we are Native Americans. We refuse to be called, you know, Redskin, Pocahontas, and Tonto. Like, we do not, that is not what we will not stand for that. You know, so, and then, of course, you know, all that was choreographed perfectly. And then I wanted to end it, you know, with When My Dreams Come True, and, of course, you know, Power Highway. And there was a correlation as a reason why all those songs were where they are. So Volume 1 itself was specifically designed that way, because I wanted to give people an idea of, yes, I do Native Americana music, but I can also write a good country song. You know, that's why Keith's song is right in the middle of that album. And, you know, Drive Through the Rain. And this is exactly why, you know, that album was made that way, because I just wanted to give people an idea of the different spectrum in regards to my writing that I can do.
I did not want to forget to ask you this. Do you care to talk about Standing Rock and your opinion of what just happened yesterday?
Well, they still need a lot of help down there. I was there for about a month and a half, and I just want to, you know, I was there with a lot of guys, great guys from Akwesasne, and Owen and Ruben and, you know, Kaylee, and, you know, of course, Satacalunya said Daryl, and, like, there was a good contingency of us Mohawk guys out there, and, you know, we were out there for a while, and I know there's still a few of our guys out there. I think Harry and Trent and, you know, JLC, you know, they still need some help out there, and I know that with everything going on yesterday, and it's just, they're going to, this is Mother Earth calling us, you know, this is the whole reason I went. You know, I did a donation drive here in Dallas, and I brought all these supplies up, and I was only supposed to be in and out, but I ended up staying a month and some change, you know, because I was just driven to be there. Yeah, well, you know, when you're at Standing Rock, there's something else. It's different. It's like I don't know, it's spiritual. It's something spiritual going on there, you know, and then I know you see all the stuff that's happening to our people, you know, with the water and the tear gas. I can't even talk about it. You know, the tear gas, and, you know, them just, you know, what's happening out there. And there's warriors from all over this country and this world came together out there. There are people from Sweden, you know, there are people from Japan and Korea and Navajo Nation and Inuits and Mohawks. And just, you know, Chief Ron was out there, and all these chiefs and everybody was out there, you know, representing Mother Earth. You know, we were there for our mother, you know, and it was this amazing feeling, because this pipeline's obviously going to get done after what we heard yesterday, you know, but I think we really won as a people, because we showed we can come together, you know, like we showed, like, we all came together for Standing Rock, all of us. I mean, you know, whether you're Canadian Indian or you're American Indian or you're, you know, we all came together as one people to be there at Standing Rock for one cause. We put aside all of our differences, and we were there for Mother Earth, you know. And I think if nothing else, we win that battle, you know, as a people. Like, we showed we can come together and make a difference, you know. And it's unfortunate that this thing is actually going to get done now. Like, you know, I mean, I know this is only step 1 of 4, and I know I talked to, Philip and Mary Gray have been amazing in this entire ambassadorship they're doing, in Akwesasnoron and traveling around, and they made an interesting point. There's still a long process. It's not like they're just going to build it tomorrow. So we still got to be strong and still in regards to that. And I mean, I still plan on going back when all this, stuff's done. I mean, I made 2 trips basically. My first trip up there, I stayed for quite a bit. Then I made another run after my benefit concert here in Dallas. I was up there, quite a bit at Standing Rock, and I know they need help. There's only like 6 Haudenosaunees up there at Haudenosaunee camp right now, cleaning up after all of us, and I know that they're going through a tough time up there, and and I just, I know they're trying to hold it down for us, and I know they're going through a lot of tough times right now.
Well, when I heard the news about it yesterday, I thought that means even more people are going to go out there. People are going to stay there even longer. And that's what worried me. I said, it's cold out there and people are just going to keep on going. And I found that part very distressing. I'm like, what more are they going to do? But what I also felt was interesting when I read the New York Times reports on it, when it tells about the people who are opposed to the pipeline, to them, it's like strictly environmental. And from working here, I realized it's even deeper than the environment. It's a cultural issue, almost a religious issue. People don't want their ancestors' graves being dug up. I said, there's not really much coverage about how it's even deeper than the environment and the national papers.
And it really is. It's so much deeper than that. And we've always, as Native Americans, have such a deep, strong connection to Mother Earth, and it's our mother. We get everything from her. We all come from her, and we're all going back to her at one point. I mean, if you got to be willing to put it all in line for your mama, and that's what we showed. A lot of us Mohawks who were out there, and I want to give shout out to all my Mohawk warriors who were out there with me, like Daryl and Owen and Ruben, Kaylee, and there's a bunch of us who were there. And, I'm proud of everybody, Philip and Mary. Like, we just, we were there for that one reason, and I think, it just touches my soul, that we all came together for that, and we were all there for that one reason, and then that's kind of what, resonated with me more than anything about that trip, was just, not the fact that I got to, sing for Neil Young, or I got to, sing for everybody out there, and
that's a story.
All that. What's that?
Tell us that story. I mean, continue talking about Standing Rock, but that's a good story.
Well, I actually, I just don't like to take away from the real issue that's really going on out there. It's really not about me or one person. It's about all of us, and like, that's why, when I do talk about Standing Rock, I don't like to bring that up, because I think it's more important that we keep an eye on the bigger picture.
Right.
And, it was cool that I got to meet them and sing for them, but we were all there for another reason, and I sang every single day out there, whether it be at the drum or at the dome or wherever they were asking me to sing. Oh, great story. This is the great story about Standing Rock. Kevin was the war from Akwesasnoron TV, and there was a bunch of us native guys from Haudenosaunee country. All of us, Iroquois folk were there. We're all Haudenosaunees just hanging out. So we had me and Daryl, if you're out there listening, brother, I love you and I miss you. We were out there and we had this idea, why don't we have a social? There's enough Haudenosaunee people here. Let's have us a social. So we opened it up, the Haudenosaunee. Next thing you know, there are Haudenosaunee from every single nation, Oneida, Onondaga, Cayuga, Seneca. We are all just jamming out, and we were all just doing social songs, and we had the biggest round dance. I don't know if anyone's out there who was there for that, and you remember that. This round dance that we did was all the way around Haudenosaunee camp, which is probably, I will be honest with you, it's probably the entire size of the building of CKON's building. Like, there was all the way around that. This big round dance, this huge, and it was one of the coolest feelings ever. Singing, in front of my Haudenosaunee people, and just everybody just dancing, and that was an amazing. That felt great. Like, that was a night, like, we were all laughing and joking. It was all of us from different nations. Like, we even had some Lakota people jumping in on the round dance. Like, like, it was really cool. That was a moment I did like to share. Like, we did put on a full-on social. Everything, opening, close, songs, introductions, everything done in Mohawk and in traditional language. Everything was done traditionally. We had a traditional social out there and standing around.
Well, I'm just curious, did you agree to meet up with them, or did you just happen to bump into them when you were there?
Well, me and Daryl were in contact for a while because I had done this benefit concert in Dallas with these people down here, the Dallas Love Tribe, and they had asked me to be part of this, and I says, well, yes, I'll do it. And they was like, you're a Native American singer. We would love for you to come out and sing on behalf of Standing Rock. We're trying to raise awareness and funds. So I says, yes, under one condition, if I get a ride to Standing Rock. And they were like, yes, no problem. So I went and sang, and en route up there, I called Daryl because I knew he was up there, you know, and he was the only one with a signal because signal is so sparse up there. And Daryl was like, yeah, no, we're here. Come meet us down here. And I went down there, and we had a U-Haul and carload of supplies. We had everything. And we just like, hey, here we go. You know, we camped out, lived in a Shawnee camp. Like I said, they had every intent of going up there for the weekend. And I was like, well, I'm kind of home now. I'm here on the res now. Like, you know, like, I'm home. I'm with my people. And, you know, by then, and it just became this thing. And they were taking me to meet other Haudenosaunees. And like, hey, there's other Mohawks camped over here. Let's go talk to them. And like, hey, let's go over here. You know, and just like, hey, it ended up being this community thing by the time I got up there. And by the time I left, it was just, you know, I hated leaving. You know, I didn't want to leave. Like, my heart's still there in Standing Rock, you know.
Now, I wasn't there. How far did this protest span?
What do you mean?
I mean, in that area. Yeah.
Well, it's a pretty nice size area. I mean, I would honestly say, you know, it's probably the size of, well, I want to say, I can't really put it into words. It's just because the way it was all spread out. I mean, they had 3 different camps when I was there, well, 4, you know, and it was pretty spread out. I want to say it was probably the size of St. Regis, you know, as a whole. You know, but there was still, you know, some, you know, maybe a racket point there too. Like, there was a nice size area there of where it was out there. The guys who out there know what I mean. It's a little hard to describe. It really wasn't that large landmass, but as far as the expanse of it and the camps being so spread out, like when you get there and you know, and you actually see how far they were spread out, like you just get this feeling like, you know, like, wow, you know, this is for real. You know, like I was honored to be there with so many of my, you know, Akwesasnoron and so many other people. I've got to meet so many amazing people from around the world and around the country and made so many, you know, lifelong connections and friendships with people. And, you know, like people from Kahnawake, like, you know, that I'm friends with. And, you know, like, it's just like I, you know, just met people from everywhere. Like I would never in a million years be friends or even have the opportunity to meet people from all these different nations. And now we're friends. You know, we talk on a daily basis.
Well, you know what it was reminding me of? When I watched the Women's March on TV, I see one celebrity come up and speak, and then another, and then I didn't realize that these are different locations. I was thinking as soon as one got off the stage, another came up, so I was wondering if it was kind of like that at Standing Rock. It's like 3 different things going on in 3 different places. People over here have no idea.
That's kind of what it was for the most part, but as far as like, you know, most everything happened over at the main camp. You know, but Haudenosaunee camp was down there, and Sacred Stone has been there the longest. That camp there, that's been there for, you know, pretty much the entire run. And the woman who runs it, LaDonna Allard, she's been there since this thing began, and that's her land out there. So they can't evict anybody from there. That's her land.
Well, it is going on 11 o'clock, Rob Saw. We are starting to get a little low on time, so I want you to quickly tell the names of your albums and how people can help you out and where they can get your stuff.
If you want to participate in helping out and making Volume 2 anyway, just go on cdbaby.com and buy Volume 1. I get the most money that way. If you buy it through iTunes, I kind of only get like $2 on an album kind of deal. So CD Baby, just look up Rob Saw. You'll find my album there, Native Americana Vol.1. Or even if you just want to buy it anywhere, I don't even care. It just helps me get this next album done. You know, support my music. Tell your friends and family about it, and then, you know, get them to listen to Reservation Road, and, you know, talk about these topics that I do, like mascot. Like my chorus and mascot is I'm a Mohawk, not a mascot. Tell your friends, tell everybody, and just support my music. That's all I ask. Just support a local boy trying to do good.
Oh, and you are doing good, and good luck with Larry Gatlin, and I hope you call us up and tell us what happens with that. That'll be exciting.
I will. Well, thank you very much for having me, Karina. It was good to hear your voice again. All my Akwesasnoron up there. I hope to see you again next month when I'm up there.
Thank you so much. Good luck to you.
Ona.